Well, welcome once again. Welcome everyone to today's public meeting regarding a potential administrator and consolidation with the City of Cloverdale for the 6 Acres Water Company. Thank you for joining us on this warm California evening. The State Water Board values and appreciates your participation, attention, and patience in this virtual space. My name is Elizabeth Herrera, and I work with the State Water Boards. I'll be the moderator for today's public meeting. Just a heads up, some of our presenters may not be sharing video today to protect their bandwidth as they present. State Water Board staff are here to present information and background on a new potential administrator for the 6 Acres Water Company, who will be tasked with helping the water system provide safe, clean drinking water by consolidating with the City of Cloverdale. After the presentation, we have made time to answer any questions and to hear any comments you may have. Thank you to the 6 Acres residents for taking time out of your evening to attend this meeting regarding your water system. We are eager to answer your questions and to hear from you. So I'm just going to take a minute to talk about meeting logistics and an overview of what we'll be discussing today. As you can see, this meeting is being recorded and being held virtually through Zoom. We will stop the recording before moving on to the public comment period because we welcome and encourage your open and honest communication. Remember, this meeting is also an opportunity for you to provide feedback and ask the questions on this process. There are going to be various ways for you to provide public comment today, and we'll talk about that next. And just a heads up, if you get disconnected from the meeting, please just rejoin with the Zoom link or the call-in number that you have. And everyone will have their microphones muted until the public comment period segment begins after the presentation. To speak during our public comment period, you'll want to raise your virtual hand. This will help us locate you in the attendee list. And if you're called upon, you'll be asked to unmute yourself to speak. It doesn't look like we have anybody calling in via phone, but if you did, that's if you are calling in by your phone, *9 to raise your virtual hand and *6 to unmute yourself. If you have any technical issues or need some help, no problem. Please email the email on your screen there. If I could have one of my co-hosts post that in the chat, please. It's safer@waterboards.ca.gov. Just email us, indicate the problem you're having, a good phone number to reach you at, and we'll give you a call and see if we can help sort through the technical issue. And now on to our meeting agenda for tonight. We will start off with some background information on the 6 Acres Water Company, followed by an overview of the consolidation process with the City of Cloverdale. We will discuss what it means to have an administrator appointed to the water system and introduce the potential administrator for 6 Acres, Jim Marie and Associates, and share some information on their qualifications and scope of work. Then we'll go over community involvement, that's you guys, and how your involvement is critical to this process and its next steps. At the end, we will take public comments and questions. I just want to remind you that the State Water Board staff are here to listen to your comments and your questions. This is a great opportunity to provide feedback on any part of this meeting. Your input is important. It will help the administrator make decisions based on what is most beneficial for your community. So I just want us to begin with the purpose of the California Water Boards. What is it that we do? The Water Board's mission is to preserve, enhance, and restore the quality of California's water resources and drinking water for the protection of the environment, public health, and all beneficial uses, and to ensure proper water resource allocation and efficient use for the benefit of present and future generations. And our work here today helps us provide clean and safe, affordable water to all Californians. Once again, thanks for being here today. Now on to the presentation. Starting with the background of the 6 Acres Water Company, I want to welcome Betty Girma. Take it away, Betty.
Hi, everyone. My name is Betty Girma, and I will be giving you some background information on 6 Acres Water Company, information on their non-compliance with the surface water treatment rule, and to help everyone understand why they are in need of both an administrator and consolidation. Next slide. First, I'll go ahead and give you a brief summary of how the water system works. It's a relatively simple system, but I think that this summary will help you better understand the violations that are associated with the system, which I will be describing in more detail later. 6 Acres Water Company serves a population of 66 people through 22 service connections. There is one water source that 6 Acres Water Company uses and gets its water from, and that is a groundwater well with continuous chlorination. The system also has one hydro-pneumatic storage tank, which is a small tank that maintains the water pressure in the system. The water system is required to have a certified distribution operator, and this is basically an individual who maintains, operates, or makes decisions about any portion of the distribution system. Additionally, the water system operator is responsible for operating and making decisions regarding the chlorine disinfection system. For example, a certified distribution operator can make decisions about shutting down, repairing, or disinfecting broken water mains, or make decisions about emergency responses, just to name a few. 6 Acres Water Company currently has a certified distribution operator. 6 Acres is regulated by the Division of Drinking Water, Sonoma District Office. Next slide. Now that I've given you a brief background on the system, I'll go over the concerns the State Water Board has with the water system. The State Water Board intends to address these concerns by appointing an administrator and consolidating 6 Acres with the City of Cloverdale. There are three primary issues that 6 Acres is facing the State Water Board plans to address by consolidation and appointing an administrator. The system has failed to comply with the surface water treatment rule. There is a lack of financial capacity, which leaves 6 Acres in danger of losing its operator and conducting required monitoring, and infrastructure improvement of the water system is necessary for long-term sustainable operation. Next slide. 6 Acres water system has failed to maintain compliance with the surface water treatment rule. 6 Acres' only active source is groundwater well 2. Due to its proximity to the Russian River, the Division of Drinking Water instructed 6 Acres to begin an investigation by January 31, 2016, to determine if the well was considered groundwater under the direct influence of surface water. The system did not conduct the investigation and subsequently received a compliance order on March 16th, which directed 6 Acres to install 4-log virus inactivation treatment for the water from well 2 and begin monthly compliance monitoring by October 1st, 2019. Furthermore, 6 Acres began monitoring for 4-log virus inactivation in January 2020, collecting daily grab samples for chlorine residual. 6 Acres did not reliably achieve at least 4-log treatment of viruses in April 2020, resulting in the Water Board's determination that 6 Acres failed to comply with the primary drinking water standard and the March 16th compliance order. Next slide. There are also critical infrastructure needs that need to be addressed. The company's sole active source, well 2, is located on the other side of Highway 101, rendering major repairs and maintenance work difficult. Additionally, 6 Acres needs another approved source to be permitted by the water boards. There is currently no well completion report for well 2. This completion report would provide critical infrastructure and construction information regarding the well. Because there is no report, the age and other construction details remain unknown. Next slide. The company also lacks the financial capacity needed to effectively manage and operate the water system. In addition to lacking financial capacity to meet infrastructure needs, 6 Acres has had trouble paying its certified operator bill because of the cost of mandatory source chemical monitoring. 6 Acres is in danger of losing its certified operator since funding from the ratepayer source seems to be insufficient to cover operator costs. It is for all of these reasons that the State Water Board is moving forward with the consolidation process and the process to appoint an administrator. Now, to provide an overview of the consolidation and administrator process, I'd like to hand the mic to Brian Kidwell. Brian?
Great, thank you, Betty. As Betty mentioned, my name is Brian Kidwell, and I'm the Senior Engineer for the Northern Engagement Unit of the Division of Drinking Water. I'm going to give an overview of both the mandatory consolidation process as well as the implementation of an administrator. The State Water Board is ordering the consolidation of 6 acres in the City of Cloverdale. Under specific circumstances, and after the State Board makes certain findings, state law gives it the authority to order the consolidation of a designated water system with a receiving water system. Since 6 acres has not proven that it can provide safe and affordable drinking water to its residents, and it is a disadvantaged community, it is considered a designated system in need of consolidation. Due to its proximity with the nearby City of Cloverdale, the State Board has determined that consolidation with Cloverdale would be the most effective way for 6 acres residents to have access to safe drinking water. The consolidation will mean that 6 acres would be owned and operated by the City of Cloverdale and will no longer be an independent system. All current 6 acres residents will receive their water from what will then be the City of Cloverdale water system. Why is the State Board taking this action? As Betty laid out earlier, there are several reasons as to why the State Board is taking this action. Due to the physical infrastructure deficiencies, such as the lack of a second active source, the water quality issues, such as the inability to meet surface water treatment rule regulations, and the financial capacity issues, such as the inability to have funding to support a certified operator and collect required monitoring. The State Board has determined that 6 Acres Water Company cannot reliably provide safe and affordable drinking water to its customers. Due to this, consolidation is the only feasible next step. So what is the consolidation process? Section 116682 of the California Health and Safety Code gives the State Water Resources Control Board the authority to order one public water system to be consolidated with another. However, it can only do this if certain conditions exist, if it makes specific findings, and it must be done by steps that are spelled out in the law. In this part of the presentation, I will go through the steps the State Water Board intends to take to satisfy these requirements and accomplish what must take place, what has been done so far, and the time frame in which they must happen. First step in this process is to officially notify the water system to be consolidated, in this case 6 acres, and the water system that will be required to take the other water system, in this case the City of Cloverdale, that they have 6 months to negotiate a voluntary consolidation. That notification was done in a letter to 6 Acres and in a letter to the City of Cloverdale dated November 2nd, 2020. The next step is to hold a public meeting to inform all of the ratepayers, renters, and property owners of the proposed action and gather input on the proposed action from them. After this meeting, the next step is to appoint a full scope administrator to the water system to take over complete managerial control of the water system. This will be done so that that person or entity can start the process to obtain funding from the State Board to make the necessary improvements to the water system and deal with other necessary technical, managerial, and financial capacity issues. Additionally, the administrator will help oversee and facilitate the consolidation. I will discuss the implementation of administrator later in this presentation. If necessary, a second public meeting will be held at the end of the voluntary negotiation period. The consolidation order will be issued. The ownership of 6 Acres water system will then be transferred to the City of Cloverdale, and the administrator will work with the city to facilitate any necessary water system improvements. Those are the major steps that must happen to complete this project. It should be noted that this could take a few years to complete, including all the necessary improvements to the water system. So a couple slides back, I mentioned the administrator, and you may be wondering what that is, what that means. Well, a full scope administrator is a person or entity who is appointed and or authorized to exercise total and complete managerial control over a designated water system. The administrator shall have all the necessary licenses and certifications for the scope of the appointment. For example, if the scope of the appointment includes the operation of a water system, the administrator must have certified operators or the ability to certify or subcontract certified operators. The administrator shall also have sufficient experience in the tasks that will be required of them. For example, if the administrator is required to develop a capital improvement plan or a 5-year budget, the administrator must have sufficient experience in doing so. It should also be noted that the administrator will also be subject to a background check. The State Water Board views administrators as a relatively flexible tool that can be tailored to the needs of a water system. All actions taken by an administrator are required to be in the best interest of the community served by the water system and must be intended to develop the water system's capability to sustainably deliver an adequate supply of safe, affordable drinking water so that the services of an administrator are no longer necessary. So what gives the State Board this authority? The State Board's ability to appoint an administrator comes from the Safe and Affordable Drinking Water Fund. This fund was established by Senate Bill 200 in 2019 to provide up to $130 million per year that enables the State Water Board to help small water systems with drinking water violations develop and implement sustainable solutions, including the appointment of an administrator. Senate Bill 552 gives the State Board the authority to appoint an administrator to a designated public water system that has consistently demonstrated the inability to provide an adequate supply of safe and affordable drinking water to its community. The role of the appointed administrator is to provide administrative, technical, operational, legal, and managerial services to a water system. A complete description of the administrator authority and requirements can be found in the Administrator Policy Handbook on the Water Board website. What's the process to appoint an administrator? The process to appoint an administrator to a water system is initiated with a letter from the State Water Board to the water system. State Water Board issued a designation letter to the 6 acres on March 8, 2021, and in conversations with the company, the Water Board was made aware that the water system welcomed the appointment of an administrator. Next, a public meeting notice is sent to affected ratepayers, renters, and property owners at least 30 days prior to a public meeting in order to give the public an opportunity to provide feedback. The notice regarding this public meeting was distributed on May 25th, 2021, and the 30-day comment period started on May 30th, 2021. The State Water Board then conducts the public meeting, which we're all here for today. Following the public meeting, there are an additional 7 days for the public comment period, where all stakeholders can submit their feedback via email. The public comment period for 6 acres will conclude on July 6, 2021. Once all the initial steps and the process are complete, the State Board can move on to the next step of legally appointing an administrator to the system. As you can see, the process does take a bit of time, and the appointment of an administrator is not immediate. 6 acres will be one of the first water systems in California to be appointed an administrator. Public meetings were also intended to be in person, but because of the pandemic, the remote participation adds on another level of complexity. So who will be the potential administrator for 6 acres? The State Board has identified Demery & Associates as a potential administrator for 6 acres. Demery & Associates have an extensive experience working in public works in California. Demery & Associates have been responsible for engineering and administrative projects throughout Northern California and have a licensed registered civil engineer within the company. Demery & Associates has experience managing systems of about 100 connections in both Mendocino and Santa Clara counties. Marlene Demery, a licensed engineer within the company, has experience as a planning director for a city and is familiar with the LAFCO annexation process for absorbing small water companies within municipalities. Additionally, she has experience applying for state construction funds to make infrastructure improvements for systems. Furthermore, she has been a receiver for 2 systems that she currently manages and has improved communication and transparency regarding the customers for their fiscal, operational, and regulatory structures in place. Demery & Associates has also prepared 5-year capital plans and has managed technical engineering planning studies and design projects. Lastly, Demery & Associates have experience working closely with legal counsel and subcontracting and managing legal contracts. Given the breadth and depth of experience, Demery & Associates is a viable potential administrator for the 6 acres water company. The administrator will be responsible for full administrative and managerial control of the water system. So what are some of the tasks that the administrator will be required to do? The full scope administrator will be required to complete numerous tasks. Many of these tasks may be unknown until the administrator has full control of the water system. However, some of the tasks the administrator will need to address include overseeing the process of consolidation, addressing financial limitations of the water system and applying to the State Water Board for funding to make the necessary improvements to the water system, ensuring that the system is operated by a certified distribution system operator until consolidation is complete, and keeping customers informed of the consolidation and improvement project status on a regular basis. Demery & Associates will be responsible for creating a community accountability and engagement plan within 90 days of appointment. The purpose of this plan is to ensure there are opportunities for meaningful community engagement throughout the duration of the administrator appointment. The plan will include a description of the actions and activities the administrator will undertake to meaningfully engage with the community regarding the administrator's activities, a description of how the administrator will incorporate input from the community and in the provision of services to 6 acres, description of means of communication the administrator will utilize to engage with the community, and a timeline for implementation of the community accountability and engagement plan. This plan will identify routine public meetings, which will occur at least quarterly or every 3 months, and other methods to engage the community. Quarterly public meetings will be preceded by notice at least 10 days prior to the public meeting and include the opportunity for the public to present comments during the meeting. Some of the items included in ongoing public meetings may be the performance of the water system, an overview of the system's financial health, updates on major projects or plans, updates on any changes to water rates, and updates on any other significant matters. Public will also have access to records if they are maintained by the company, including current operating budget, an organization chart of all designated water system employees, ownership information for designated water system, reports by auditors or other financial professionals, contracts for professional services, complaints, and a post-administrator drinking water plan. The administrator is a short-term alternative, and one of the administrator's top priorities is to identify a pathway to put themselves out of a job. Within 12 months of commencing duties as an administrator, Demery and Associates will need to submit to the State Water Board a draft post-administrator drinking water service plan. Demery and Associates will also hold a public meeting before the submittal. The State Board will be responsible for reviewing and approving the plan. Typically, a draft post-administrator drinking water service plan will contain each of the following: identification and evaluation of the technical, managerial, and financial issues preventing the designated water system from serving its customers with an adequate supply of safe and affordable drinking water, identification and evaluation of significant future issues the district may face, a detailed plan for developing the necessary technical, managerial, and financial competencies in the shortest timeframe possible so that the services of the administrator would no longer be required, the additional resources that will be needed to implement the post-administrator drinking water service plan, an evaluation of the feasibility of a long-term public governance or community ownership options for the designated water system, and an evaluation of the feasibility of connecting to or consolidating the designated water system with another public water system. However, the State Board is aware that this situation is a bit different, being as the solution to many of the mentioned items is already known, as the 6 acres water company will be consolidating with the City of Cloverdale. Therefore, the post-administrator drinking water service plan may contain some of the items previously mentioned and may not include others. So who will pay for the administrator? The cost of administrator is funded by the State Water Board, so it is a means of providing needed assistance to a designated public water system without a cost to the public water system. Specifically, the State Water Board shall be responsible for the salary and any benefits for the administrator. The administrative costs attributed solely to the administrator, including but not limited to additional computers, phones, furniture, and working space requirements, and legal and accounting and other similar administrative and managerial fees that cannot be paid for by the designated water system's rates, fees, charges, and existing accounts. The designated water system will be responsible for all ordinary costs associated with the operating and maintaining the water system, including but not limited to all planning and construction projects required to meet applicable water standards and requirements. Subject to fund availability and project eligibility, the State Water Board may provide funding for construction and planning projects and ongoing operation and maintenance costs as set forth in applicable funding guidelines and policies. Any ratepayer, renter, or property owner who receives water from 6 acres once they receive services from an administrator may submit a petition to the State Water Board for the reversal or modification of a decision of an administrator or substitution of the administrator. The petition must be received by the State Board within 30 days of the decision in question. Additionally, a petition requesting substitution of an administrator may be submitted to the State Board at any time. It should be noted the filing of a petition does not stay or in any way void or limit the decision or action of the administrator being challenged in the petition. Any such petition shall include the following information: contact information, including name and address of the petitioner, and identification of the reason or reasons the petitioner seeks substitution of the administrator or reversal or modification of the administrator's decision. Once received, the State Board will review the petition. To recap, the purpose of appointing Demery and Associates as an administrator to 6 acres is to ensure a safe, reliable supply of drinking water is provided to customers for the foreseeable future and ensure the system can be sustainable. Demery and Associates will manage the system and facilitate the consolidation of 6 acres with the City of Cloverdale. As mentioned previously, the public will be informed of major steps and progress on the scope with a minimum of quarterly meetings. So now it's time for the public comment period, and I will turn it back over to you, Elizabeth.
Thanks, Brian. I appreciate that. I'm just going to stop recording here.